Hi, good evening, everybody. This is Pastor David here. Welcome to another session of Easy Dharma for the New Normal. How is everybody? Good evening to you, and I'm sure you guys have had a really good dinner. So, as usual, I'm going to refresh my page. Of course, today we'll be continuing on our reading of The Wheel of Sharp Weapons. The Wheel of Sharp Weapons. So last week I think I stopped at verse 23. But before I go into that, let me check myself out and see who's on. Good evening, Mr. Lam. David, good evening. Welcome to Easy Dharma for the New Normal. And okay, I can see myself now. Right, we had a huge thunderstorm here in KFR, and it was so I'm not sure about in town where you guys are. I hope everything's okay. So today, before I begin, I would like to talk a little bit about some additional information that I've picked up while reading the commentary on the Wheel of Sharp Weapons. All right, one of the things that I read about was the wheel itself. The wheel, the title of the text is called The Wheel of Sharp Weapons. It refers to a weapon. It's a type of weapon, actually. It's not just a imagery. It's a type of weapon used in ancient India. And apparently the Hindu deity Vishnu, am I right? Vishnu, right? The one that holds the discus? Yeah, that he holds it on his finger. And apparently according to mythology, that when it's thrown, it's used to kill people and decapitate the victims, and somehow it will return to the person who wielded it, who threw it. So it comes back like a boomerang. So I guess that imagery was used in reference to this text, in reference to the actions. All of our actions that we do, one way or another, comes back to us. All right. So that's the reason why it's called the Wheel of Sharp Weapons. So I can see more people come on. Kinho Puff Sazina. I hope I got your name correct. You almost sound like a never mind. Yin Ping, hello. Sharon and Esther and Ramesh, namaste. Pastor Hani, welcome. Very nice to see you. And of course, Pastor Naral there at the background. So, and I would like to talk a little bit. Besides that, what comes to mind was this. Because last week I spoke about the difference between self-grasping and a self-cherishing mind. Okay, the two, they are interdependent, but it's different. Okay, one is self-grasping is referring to the self-cherishing I, the way we hold on to believing that this self exists, is solid, it needs to be cherished, is the self-grasping. The grasping onto this self. Then and from this grasping in the self, we do a lot of acts to cherish it, to take care of it, to make sure it's all right, to make sure it's stroke, like to stroke the ego, to make sure that it's comfortable, to make sure that it's secure, because it's always insecure. Reason why it's always insecure, because it doesn't really exist. That's why it's always insecure. And at the same time, that's why it's connected to self-cherishing. The self-cherishing mind is all the actions that we do to stroke it, to make sure it's secure, to make sure it's comfortable, to make sure it has all the tools and paraphernalia to exist, although it does not really exist. So it's combined: self-grasping, self-cherishing. Okay, so actually, what all this is, when you boil it down further, is ignorance. Basically, it is ignorance. It is ignorance in the sense of not knowing not knowing how we truly exist, not knowing how things really are. And what am I talking about? Not knowing how we exist in the sense that we do not need to, we don't really exist in the sense that we think we exist. We always think that we exist in the sense that, we are a solid individual, a solid personality that needs to be secure, that needs to be stroked, to be comfortable. So that's the ignorance we're talking about. That's the non-awareness. All right? So that's very important. And hi, Kelvin. Nice to see you. So that's the part that's very deep seated inside of us. Very deep inside of us. Why is so deep? Why is so, even as I talk, it's a bit vague. For many of you, even for me, it's also a bit vague, although I've read many times about it, because it's so inherent in us. I think inherent is not the right word. It's so, we grasp on it for so long that it's become like almost a part of us, almost, but it's not. Because according to the Buddha, he says it's not. What is a part of us, was truly a natural part of who we are, is the opposite, is cherishing others. It is, why is cherishing others a natural part of us? Rinpoche gave this teaching before, which I thought was wonderful logic. Even the most, everybody has someone they care about. Everybody has someone they love. Even the most deranged and psychopathic and sociopathic criminal, hardened criminals we're talking about, they have someone they cherish, they care about, although in their own twisted way. So if that proves to you, but not everybody has, who hates everybody and no one they don't love. You see the logic? Everybody has someone they care about, but everybody doesn't have, there's not a single person. Okay, I didn't word it out properly. There's not a single person in this world that completely hates everybody from their parents, everybody. They don't like it, they don't want it, they hate. There's no such thing as a person who hates everybody completely. Although there are some who claim to be, but actually no. They do care about somebody, and it's because of the hurt they receive, and that's why they express it that way. But actually, everybody has someone they care about. Everybody. So that shows, what Rinpoche said is, that shows to you that's a natural state of mind. All right? So, unfortunately for us, because our self-grasping and self-cherishing ways are so, we have practiced it for so long, so it kind of like, it's very deep. So it's buried, our compassionate self, cherishing of other self, has been buried very deeply, so we just need to rediscover it. And in order to do that, I'm going to give you bits and pieces right now, as I complete my research and reading on all this enormous topic of bodhicitta and all that. Bodhicitta I will eventually talk about, but I will build up to then. Okay, so in order to develop greater compassion, all right, we have to equalize everybody. Why do we have to equalize everybody? Because we do not see people equally. The people that surround us, we have 3 categories of these people. And what are they? They are people we love, we care about, we are attached to, that we want to be with them. And so we have an exaggerated view of them, in the sense that, they're so wonderful, they're so beautiful, they're so this, so that, it's exaggerated in our minds. And then there are people we totally despise, we hate them, whether they're really that deserving of the hate is another thing, but it's people and individual that we rather not have spent our free time with. It could range from we'd rather not spend our time with to it could be someone we really hate, we can't stand to be in the same room with. It depends on the severity of it, but it's all under one same category. It's people we don't like, we cannot stand being with them. Okay, and then the third category is people we have no regard. We don't mind spending time, nor do we hate them, nor do we feel repulsed when basically it's people we don't notice. People who is like, people like people on the street, the person who brings you the mail, who brings the postman, the people who brings you the milk, your milk. I mean, some countries, in Malaysia we buy it in 7-Eleven or supermarket, but some countries they deliver it. People who who walk on the street, the person who clean your house, the maid, the janitor in your office, in school. People that we pass by on a daily basis. Sometimes we don't even bat an eye to look at them, to have a second look, or we don't even know their name, but we see them every single day. So it's people we don't really have much regard for. So this is the three categories, and because we have this differentiation, these categories in our mind, and that's why it's not possible for us to develop compassion at this time, because we have a huge attachment to these categories. So we pigeonhole people in our lives based on these three categories all the time. Everybody. I mean, unless you have attained some level of compassion lah. If you have not, then you definitely will pigeonhole people. Either people you have no regard for, people whom you care about, people whom you don't like, you despise, you detest. You pigeonhole into this tree. So in order to develop real compassion, great compassion we call it, you have to equalize all of them. How do you do that? Ta-da! So in order to do that, there are meditations that you can do, contemplations. And obviously, actually, I've read through the contemplations on how to do that, and it's quite simple and quite makes sense. People you like. I'll just give you a very quick one before I go into the reading. People you care about, because when people you care about, you are attached to. So basically, your attachment to them is strong. So when your attachment is strong, it means you have an exaggerated view of why you like them, because it's your mother who took care of you, because it's your boyfriend who loves you, because it's your girlfriend who does your laundry, because it's your relative who has done things for you, because you're related to them, etc., whatever it is. And then so what you do is you meditate on the negative qualities. The meditation only lasts until you develop an equanimity, a sense of equanimity, meaning you don't feel that you really care about them so much that you have an exaggerated view, nor do you feel repulsed. You have to reach a point of equilibrium. All right? And then, okay, that's on a very quick one. Then for people you hate, right? You have to meditate on their good qualities. The Buddhist way is to think of them as as our mothers in previous lives who benefited so much, or you can just view of them as from the standpoint of that they are just human beings, just like you and me. They have their feelings, their wishes, and they our shared common ground. As in why the things that we care about, so do they. They just want the same things, and that there's a certain meditation you can do lah. It's just too long to explain right now, but there's one way. Or you can view them as your mothers in previous lives who have benefited us. All right, people who hate. And then actually, on many occasions, the people we really, really hate tends to be the people who benefited us before and just disappointed us later as well. So then it's easy to exaggerate, to not exaggerate, to contemplate on when they have the points where they have benefited us. And then last of all, the category of people who we have no regard. All sentient beings, basically, the animals, blah blah blah, whatever, that we have little regard, or even the devas, whatever. What you can do is you can visualize all of them as being our mothers. That is the tradition, and we should follow. So Once the idea is to equalize all of them. So you have to understand the purpose of it, to equalize your feeling. It is not to develop compassion yet. It is just to equalize all of them. All right, equalize how you feel towards all of them. All of us should have some sort of equilibrium as a goal with this contemplation, so that when we go into practice of developing great compassion, it will bear fruit. Otherwise, we are praying, but we're thinking, oh, I can't stand this person, I can't stand this person, I can't stand that person. Oh, who's that? I don't know her, I don't know him, as somebody likes to say. And so the idea is to develop equilibrium. All right. So today, last week I finished at verse 23. All right. Today I'll be starting on verse 24 onwards to verse 32. All right, on the wheel of sharp weapons. Okay, I'd just like one more point I want to bring up about the author, the Lama who composed this verse. Okay, the Lama who composed this verse is not Atisha. His name is Dhammarakshita. He's Indonesian. He's not even Indian. He's Indonesian, and we know very little about him, unfortunately, because much of his biographical details have been lost over time. But what we do know is that from this text, especially, he was probably a great yogi who meditated in the jungles. Hence, the imagery within the text itself is very jungle-like, peacocks in the forest and the jungle, and that's one. Another thing is his main practice was yamataka, and apparently I read in the commentary somewhere that there was a tanka of his that was brought over to Tibet and was kept in Reting Monastery, where it was a very lively tanka of yamataka that a lama, I don't think it's Dhammarakshita, let me see, 52. Oh yes, it is him. There was, because at that time there was an invasion of Muslims according to the text, and in order to avert the invasion, what Dhammarakshita did was, I guess he went to India. Is this India? Yes, in India. So in order to avert an onslaught of an invading army, what Dhammarakshita did was he arose as yamataka. What is rising as yamataka means? When you arise as yamataka means you do a certain meditation, a certain visualization, in which you visualize yourself as the deity. Of course, if you are not attained and you are just on a beginning on the path, then it's just imagination. But for a lama who has attained, what does it mean attained? He has completely removed his self-cherishing mind, his self-grasping mind. So when you remove that, you develop bodhicitta. Okay? The key about removing your self-cherishing mind is to develop bodhicitta. So once you remove your self-cherishing mind, you develop bodhicitta. So he has bodhicitta. So because of that, he's attained. And what he did was he rose as yamataka. It becomes real because of his attainment. So he whacked the tanka, and there was a handprint of his on the tanka, and apparently it stopped an invasion army. He was that powerful. All right. So this tanka was apparently kept in Reting Monastery in Tibet. So I just read it just now, and I thought it's wonderful, it's powerful, and I wanted to relay this to you as a blessing. And since we're reading his text, we should know a little bit about the Lama who gave this teaching. And also, I wanted to also highlight this about bodhicitta, about removing the self-cherishing mind, about removing the self-grasping mind. Okay, these two, they're together. When we remove both, what happens is even when a person who has no self-cherishing mind, even when they commit negative actions, it can result in positive results. For us, it's different. For us, because we have a self-cherishing mind, we have a self-grasping mind. So when we do any negative actions, naturally results in negative results. But for a person who has no ego, who has no self-cherishing mind, what happens is it can result in positive. Even the action may be negative. This explains divine play. This explains a Lama who is able to utilize unconventional means to achieve a positive result. What do I mean by that? For example, great Mahasiddhas of the past, great masters who have achieved selflessness or no ego, who is able to drink, create illusion of the sun not stuck in the sky, and Virupala, Mahasi Rupa, and converting the whole kingdom to the path of Buddhism. Or it could be some lamas who created miracles, miracles is not a negative action. Let me see what negative. Drinking, some womanizing. So for a Lama who has no self-cherishing mind, all right, only then can they do negative actions. So we cannot do negative actions and say, oh, I have a motivation, a higher motivation, I am attained, so I will, it will not have the same results. Hence, in the book, at the beginning, it says that peacocks can eat poisonous plants and thrive. Fools, crows who eat poisonous plants will die. So we cannot do the same because we are not peacocks, we are not bodhisattvas, we still have a self-cherishing mind. So it is important to remove it first in order to get that kind of result. But the idea is it's possible. I wanted to explain this point because it's important in understanding the lives of the Mahasiddhas and the High Lamas and why unconventional behavior can result, or controversial behavior, or even negative actions like drinking, womanizing, and all that can result in positive results. All right, so I thought that was interesting because it dawned on me just now. I just want to tell you guys. So anyway, yeah. Okay, let's start. It's already like almost halfway. Okay, verse 24, all right. When our servants and friends are annoyed by our habits, and after a while cannot stay in our homes, this is the wheel of sharp weapons returning full circle upon us from the wrongs we have done. Till now we have imposed our bad habits on others. Hereafter let's change and show only kind ways. Oh, this is very straightforward. This is for people who are stubborn. Okay, people who are very insistent on sorry, but some people are very anal about certain things, can be very annoying to a lot of people. And when you impose your views on people, people cannot take it. Especially when you impose. The word impose means you force it down onto others. So when we have behavior that irritates people, that people cannot stand, that people find that they rather not be with you, they don't want to spend. Most of the time people are, I don't know, because we are in Asia, right? So people are more polite. We are in a polite society in which people generally do not confront and say, oh, that is very annoying. Usually they just shy away, they just smile, and they don't want to associate with so much. And so when you find that people are avoiding you, not because you are evil or anything, but it's perhaps your actions, it's your behavior, it's perhaps your behavior in your expectations, your expectation that everybody have to conform to your views, conform to your what you always do with people. Some people like to, they like to get people to do things. I know some people who, when they see someone, immediately when they see something, they say, oh, can you help me do something? Can you help me do something? Oh, can you do this for me? Can you do this for me? Oh, can you do this? Every time, before even a hello, can you help me do something? So that kind of behavior, although you have best of intentions, or you want to help this person, but it comes across as, you feel used. Because before you even say hello and greet a person, you already ask the person to do something for you. Whether you have whatever intentions you may have, whatever fantastic intentions you may have, people may not feel it that way, because it's about you wanting something done, So we have to be extra careful about that. I think a lot of us tend to do that sometimes, and especially at work. When we are at work, our minds are racing and we want to accomplish so many things, especially if you are in a position where you are a superior, or you are a manager, or so immediately it's like, oh, do this. Yes, it's work, yes, but people are still people, all right? So we should have some sort of decorum, in a sense that address people politely and ask them. And sometimes we should find out whether they're able to do it before you actually ask them to do it. Something like that. Okay, so I'm just giving you an example of how it could be that fit a more real life situation that fits this verse that comes to mind. If you have something else in mind, you can share. It could be yourself, it could be someone you observed. You do not need to name names. No need to embarrass anybody here. All right, so you can share, and you can put it up, and so people learn. Because many of the times people do it repeatedly and they chase people away. It's not because they intentionally do it. Sometimes they don't even notice. So that's actually not very good. If you don't even notice your behavior is chasing away, it's not a good sign about your own self-awareness and your own practice of reflection, when you reflect on what's happening around you. So, yeah. Okay, so that's verse 24. Any other input, please let me know. It's very quiet. I hope I'm not boring you guys to tears, because I'm here to deliver the Dharma, and if I'm boring you to tears, then it's not so good for me. Verse 25. Oh yeah, let me read verse 25. Calvin, I'll talk about that later. When all who are close turn against us as enemies, this is the wheel of sharp weapons returning full circle upon us, the wrongs we have done. Till now we have held grudges inside us with anger, with thoughts of sly methods to cause others pain. Hereafter, let's try to have less affectation, nor pretend to be kind while we harbor base aims. Affectation, what's that? AFFEs. What does that mean? Sorry, I need to consult about the meaning of the word.
Putting on airs.
Oh, I see. Put on airs, huh?
Yeah. That's meant to impress somebody, or get something from them.
Okay, so this verse is very interesting because it says that when a lot of people close to us turn against us, which is usually a bad sign, okay? I mean, it's not usually, it's definitely a bad sign. It's definitely a bad sign. It's a bad sign, and what it means is that we have held grudges. We have been angersome. We have held on to our feelings about people, and people can feel it, people around us. And we have treated people not nicely. People who are close to us, we have not treated them nice. Why would people turn against you, especially if they're close to you? Why would they do that? It's because you have not treated them nice, and you don't even notice it. Yeah, and you do not even notice it. So people lose, firstly, when you do it a little bit, people lose respect. Although they loved you, they care about you, they're concerned about you as a friend, as a loved one, as a family member. They have concern for you, but they do not like what they see. You have been doing things that are not nice. Okay? So for example, you held grudges, you use sly methods, you hurt people. The next line says you hurt people. You use sly methods, means untrustworthy, cunning, in negative ways to hurt people. Okay, and then, so is this too? You held on to grudge and you hurt people. So it doesn't have necessarily mean you hurt the people close to us, but you hurt other people, and that other people makes the people who are close to us feel that you could do that to them too. So they lose respect for us as their respect for us erodes. Eventually, it will turn to anger, to revenge, to frustration, whatever it is. Sometimes it's just a burst of frustration that they turn against us. Whatever it is, it's not a good sign. It's a very, very bad sign. Our behavior, our anger is boiling or simmering over. And people around us can feel it, and they do not like what they see, because we have used the anger and harnessed it to hurt others. Because you see, when we hurt other people, although we do not hurt the people close to us, when we hurt other people, especially when we use ways that are not nice, in a very, very nasty way, when you hurt people very, very nastily, the people who are close to us will feel hurt as well. Okay, when they feel hurt, they will turn against, not because they want to turn against us, but they don't like what they see. So first thing is their self-respect for us, their respect for us erodes. Okay, so if you have any questions about that, let me know. So this is it's a very, very powerful verse, in a sense of people who have people close to them turn against them, and it's more of a reflection of the person themselves, the people whom their loved ones will turn against us, so it's a very, very not good sign. Anything to add, let me know. Okay, let me see. Another translation of verse 25. At times when, this is from Chung, another translation of verse 25. At times when, it jumped. At times when all who are close rise up as our enemies, this is the sharp weapon of negative karma circling back at us from having harbored inside us bad thoughts about others. Now let us continually minimize our pretense and cunning. So whatever it is, it also means the same thing. It is us. It's not them. It's not the loved one, because when loved ones, people close to us turn against us, we get very hurt. We get very disappointed, and we would like to point the blame at them. We would like to do that, and this verse refers to when many of them do that, not just one, a few, 1, 2, 3, 4. It points back to us. What have we done to make these people lose their trust against us, lose their care and concern for us? That's the key. Okay, good evening to Nawang Lamo, Pastor Tapming, Brian, and Mr. Lam, you have something to say. Pastor, is verse 25 similar to describing sibling rivalry in wealthy family, grabbing a share of the fortunes of the patriarch? It definitely can. I don't know what kind of family. Usually, yeah, it's true. Money is the root of all evil, isn't it? It makes people be the worst in themselves, especially when it comes to greed. And when the patriarch of the family passes on, so all the kids, if the patriarch has many children, so they will be at war with each other. This is the stuff of late night series, Dynasty. Isn't it Dynasty, something like that? About Dynasty is something like that, right? Yeah, this Pastor Nara said so. I forgot. I watched it before, but it was such a long time ago. And so it's normal, and normal doesn't mean it's good, although it's entertaining. It doesn't mean it's good, all right? So yeah, it can be used to describe sibling rivalry, yeah. Hello, Kingdom, Tenzin Jamka, welcome, and Cat Steven, good evening to you. Let's go on to the next one, Dynasty or Dallas. Both, I guess. Verse 26. When we suffer from sickness and such interference, especially when gout has swollen our legs, this is the wheel of sharp weapons returning full circle upon us from the wrongs we have done. Till now, without shame and with no self-control, we have stolen or misused what others have given. Hereafter, let's never take anything offered to the three jewels of refuge as if it were ours. Oh, this is very interesting. When we get sick, and specifically when when we have swollen legs, and this is the results of stealing, abusing of other people's property. So it's quite straightforward. Usually when we steal, what happened is usually I used to think what results of it is poverty, but this is more than that. You get sickness, you get swollen legs, apparently, according to this verse. Jonathan, hello, welcome. You asked about how about self-ego in regards to, are you talking about every verse within the wheel of sharp weapons is about the ego. You see, self-cherishing mind is and has many manifestations. One manifestation is they are nasty towards others. Okay, that's verse 25. They're nasty towards others in whatever way, in sly ways, and still live streaming, right? Okay, because one way of self-cherishing mind is being nasty to people, and then the people turn against us. One way is when we have stolen, it results in sickness, it results in gout, swollen legs. Okay, so it could be many manifestations. All these verses is to point on one thing, the self-cherishing mind, the cause of it. Whether there is two causes. There is the initial surface cause, which is like, oh, you stole, oh, you are nasty, oh, you are self-centered, oh, you are angersome, oh, you are whatever it is. It's just a symptomatic cause. But the actual cause itself, the root cause is a self-cherishing mind. So this is what this verse is about. So the self-cherishing mind has many, many heads. So this is one. Each verse is one. So the idea is when you go through it one after another, you start to have an image of what the self-cherishing mind. Because at the moment we don't fully grasp it, we don't fully understand or see it. But as we go through the verse, that's why it's important. Although you may not feel it applies to you, but you see when you go through it, you begin to understand. So you have to fully appreciate every single verse in order to see the self-grasping mind, see the self-cherishing mind. All right. Okay, next verse 27. When strokes and diseases strike without warning, this is the wheel of sharp weapons returning full circle upon us from the wrongs we have done. Till now we have broken our vowed words of honor. Hereafter let's shun such non-virtuous deeds. Oh, this is another one. Strokes. This is specifically on stroke. When we get stroke and disease strike without warning. This is the wheel of sharp weapons returning full circle upon us the wrongs we have done. Till now we have broken our words of honor. That means we have broken commitments. And hereafter, let's shun such non-virtuous deeds. So every time you break a promise, you create a cause to receive a stroke or some sort of disease without warning. Okay? So the severity of your stroke, the severity of the disease will depend on the type of vow, promise that you have broken. And the type of vow and promise you're broken will depend on who you made the vow with. If you made it with your guru, that's the worst of the worst. Let's say you promise, oh, I will do this, I will complete a project, and then you do not complete. You said you would, but you will not. You've broken a vow. You've broken a promise. A vow and a promise. Yes, you didn't say, oh, Rinpoche, I vow to commit. You did not, but you said you promised you would. Vow and promise is just it's just a word. Ultimately, you want to do it. You made the commitment to do it. It's the same thing. So the highest will be broken promises to your guru. The next will be to your parents, falling to your siblings, family, down like that. So who you make the vow and broke the commitment with does affect the what do you call it, the result of your broken commitment. All right. So whatever it is, doesn't matter if you vow to a little ant or you vow to a stranger on the street, you broke your promise to a stranger on the street, or you broke a promise to a family member. Whatever it is, there will be a negative karma. Don't think, oh, just because the person don't remember. You know, most of the time it's like this. When we make a promise and then we keep quiet, we hope that the other person do not remember your promise. And we think, oh, we just sweep clean. Yay, don't have to do it because the person don't even remember. But you see, there's karma. Even if it's an ant, there's a karma. Although the ant probably will not understand what promise you made, but there's karma. Everything that you do has karma, has a karmic retribution. So just remember that. So don't take promises lightly. You know, when you promise to do this, you promise to do that. Because there's some people who do that. They over-promise and never deliver. And you think, oh, it's just nothing. And that's one. It will come back to you. That's one. Another thing is, each time you break your promise, you reinforce that. All right, so expect to get a lot of disease, you know, if you're according to this verse. All right, so there are many causes for disease, and this is one of them. Okay, let me see what Chung says. Kelvin Tan Dynasty. Chung says, verse 48. We'll get there, Chung. Don't worry, we'll get there. Yiling says, this is especially crucial to keeping vows in tantric practice. Yiling, the highest set of vows, like we call it higher. Tantric vows is considered the highest sets of vows because it is to deal with you look at the vows. I don't know if you've seen tantric vows because actually we're not supposed to see it. Is when you receive the vows, then you get the vows. But the vows is supposed to handle duality. It's supposed to handle higher thoughts. Okay, so the vows, when you break them, the repercussion is very heavy as well, extremely heavy. So, and depending what vow, if you're talking of the three sets of vows in Buddhism, right? If those vows are broken, are very heavy. I'm talking of just normal commitments here. That one is another level altogether. We will get there. I'm sure it will be mentioned here somewhere. All right. Okay, where was I? Yeah. Verse 28. When our mind becomes clouded whenever we study, this is the wheel of sharp weapons, returning full circle upon us from the wrongs we have done. Till now we have thought that the study of Dharma lacked prime importance and could be ignored. Are you feeling sleepy right now, you guys? So you see, this is called drip. Rinpoche, apparently in the Tibetan tradition, there is a spiritual pollution. Rinpoche translates it as spiritual pollution. So this happens when we listen to the Dharma, and even when we had a lot of sleep, you know, it's not because we have a lack of sleep. With a lot of sleep, we feel, we cannot concentrate. We feel, we feel really sleepy, and the words become, just lulls us to sleep. This is spiritual. It's a sign of spiritual pollution. It means what? It means that, according to this verse, it means that we have thought that the study of Dharma lacked prime importance and could be ignored. That means what? On a deeper level, we have disrespected the Dharma. We do not have enough respect for the Dharma. And we didn't think Dharma is that important before. That's one. And another way of disrespecting Dharma is not just thinking that it's not important, that we didn't want to study. It is also we have stepped over Dharma books. We have we have ducked our nose and then turned the pages according to the Lamrim. We have scribbled, doodle like a 5-year-old kid on the pages. Sometimes we do write notes on our Dharma books. It's fine. That's not doodling. What I mean is draw little cartoons, disrespecting the Dharma book. Sometimes we put non-Dharma books on top of Dharma books, not realizing that it has any significance, but there is. There is. Karmically, there is. Dharma books should always be on the highest shelf. It should always be on top. If you can't help it, usually it's better to separate your Dharma and non-Dharma, but if you cannot help it due to space constraints, always put Dharma books on top. Or if it's left to right, the order is left to most superior to the inferior on the right. So in that way. So it is important to have utmost respect for Dharma books. Utmost. So you do not have spiritual pollution. Another form of spiritual pollution, I was told, this is a sharing by J.P. Tong. Since he told us, so I guess it's it's all right to tell you guys, because he did experience that before. Whenever Rinpoche spoke, gave a Dharma talk, he felt sleepy at one period of time. And so what happened was he told Rinpoche, and Rinpoche said, "Have you cleaned your altar lately?" And he said, "I've been busy." So immediately when he went back, he realized he had not touched his altar for months. It is dusty. There's a layer of dust on it, and the offerings are, was not made and all that. It was dusty, dirty, and so he immediately cleaned up. And I think Rinpoche gave him some. I'm not sure what I have to consult him again. What he did, but even that, leaving your altar dirty, offerings there for weeks on end until it rot, has karmic repercussion. It results in spiritual pollution. When you listen to the Dharma, you feel extremely sleepy and you cannot concentrate. And it's almost automatic. What JP said was it was almost automatic. The moment Rinpoche starts a Dharma talk, he already feels sleepy already. And then as it continues, even when he had enough sleep, so it's very important. There are many. It's very important to educate yourself. How it is to respect the Dharma the correct way, all right? Because there is karmic retribution. Okay, let me see. Mei Wen, is there a difference in severity if the person forgive or not forgive us for the broken promise? No, I don't know which side you're talking. If you're talking from the side of the person who broke the commitments, we should seek. We should go and repair that. What do you call it? Repair the samaya. No, you wouldn't. If you don't know the term, you wouldn't understand what I mean. Meaning, you should go and make amends, lah. You should say sorry, make amends, do something to make up for what you've done, your broken promise. Then you have no. There won't be a difference in severity. Okay, that didn't sound right. No, then you will purify the karma. So, but from the standpoint of whether the person forgives you or not, does not make a difference. Yeah, it does not make a difference. Your karma is your actions. So what is from your actions that you purify. It's not from whether the person is happy with you or unhappy with you or forgive you or not. It does not matter. As long as you did the right thing. The right thing, if you are in the wrong, is always to go and apologize and make amends if you've done something wrong. It doesn't have to be a broken promise. It could be anything else. Disrespecting, insulting, whatever, shouting. I had a screaming at someone and blah, blah, blah. If you have a screaming match with someone, go apologize. There's nothing to it. In a sense that it's your ego. If the person doesn't accept it, doesn't want to take it, scolds you back, treats you harshly, at least you have the strength of character. The Dharma learning in you have made you done something like that. Very few people will do that because it's so embarrassing, right? So it's more from you from you yourself, you know, from your Dharma practice, from your strength of character. And even the person accepts or not does not matter. But if it's you, if they have broken promises, a broken commitment with you, a broken promise towards you, and so what happens is, whether it makes a difference for you to forgive, yes, it's a huge difference for you. If you hold on to it, of course, it's not good lah. It's you know, it becomes a grudge, and a grudge is not good. What happens is you develop anger, and from first is resentment, then anger. Okay, so what happens is, it's definitely not good. Okay, so it depends which way you're talking about. All right. So always forgive. In fact, in the Bodhisattva vows, if you want to be if you want to practice the Bodhisattva, if you want to have tantric initiation, you have to have Bodhisattva vows, by the way. So in your Bodhisattva vows, if a person apologizes, it's your commitment to forgive. Yes, if you don't forgive, you have broken the commitment, your Bodhisattva vows. So you have to forgive. Of course, it doesn't mean that you can forget. You can always remember and take precautions for the future, but you definitely have to forgive. You have to let go. Okay, later I will talk about bodhicitta, developing compassion, and there are some mental factors involved. Mental factors is certain aspects of a mind, sincerity, openness, and all that you need to develop in order to develop compassion. You cannot be someone who holds grudges. You cannot be someone who has a lot of hang-ups and this and that, and then you want to develop compassion. You cannot. You will not be able to. So you need to resolve all your hang-ups. You need to resolve your holding of grudges and all that if you want to develop compassion. So you cannot be someone who's very, cannot take this, cannot take that, not happy, and then you always remember what someone did to you. You cannot. Then you will not be able to develop compassion. All right? Okay, so where was I? Let me see what else. Good evening, Miao Ki and Mei Wen. Got it, thanks. You're welcome, Mei Wen. All right. Oh, the verse actually ends in 2 more lines. Hereafter, let's build up the habits of wisdom and to hear and to think about what Buddha taught. So, a lot of us have spiritual pollution one way or another. So the best way is purification practices. And I do remember that, it's a very, very famous story in the Lamrim. I think most people who have even heard the Lamrim would probably heard this. It's the story of Lamchung, Chunda Pandaka. He's really dumb, stupid, a huge amount of spiritual pollution in his mind. Huge. When the Buddha teaches one line, he forgets the line, the start of the line, the first syllable. So the Buddha eventually realized that he has heavy karma. So what the Buddha assigned him to do was to do cleaning. So the Buddha taught him to recite a certain verse, abandon dirt, blah blah blah. I forgot, Dupong Drimapong. The Tibetan is very easy to remember, Dupong Drimapong. So abandon it's a verse to visualize. The importance of visualization, to visualize the place where you're cleaning. And this place has to be a place like a shrine, like your altar area, or in a temple, in a sacred place and sacred space. So you can visualize that as your mind, and then you're basically purifying your mind as you clean. So that's a very powerful way to purify the spiritual pollution. Okay, so I'm just equating what is taught in the Lamrim. It's a wonderful story. I think a lot of people know. So if you're wondering, how to purify that. Okay, verse 29. When sleep overwhelms us while practicing virtue, this is the wheel of sharp weapons returning full circle upon us from the wrongs we have done. Till now we have gathered the causes for obstacles, hindering our practice of virtuous acts. We have lacked all respect for the scriptural teachings. We have sat on our books and left texts on the ground. We have also looked down upon those with deep insight. Hereafter, let's, for the sake of our practice of Dharma, let's gladly endure all the hardships we meet. Is that a problem? Oh, okay. Yeah, all right. So what happens is, this is a continuation of this now, earlier, except that it extends here to tell you, that doesn't necessarily just talks about Dharma talks, is that when we, anything that like Dharma work, we feel, oh, so boring, go Kechara, yo, so boring, go puja, 2 hours long, so boring. It's a form of spiritual pollution, all right? And it shows you that you have not respected the Dharma, all right? So it says here also that there's one thing I found interesting is that we have looked down upon those with deep insight. So people who are older than us, people who have more experience, sometimes people who have more experience does not necessarily mean they're older. Sometimes they may be younger than us. It's just that they have experienced more than us, So they've given us advice, good advice, and we have ignored it. We have looked down on it. Sometimes we criticize it, and this is karma. We should when people give us good advice, we should never ever criticize, look down, or talk bad about people who give you good advice. All right, you should always say thank you. You may not accept it. But do not put down the advice that was given. All right. If you don't accept, it's fine. Sometimes we don't fully understand, but never disrespect the advice that was given to us, and also never disrespect the person who gave us good advice. Okay, it's both, because you create the karma like this. When you do virtuous acts, you feel so boring, so tired all the time. You always feel that you rather, when you rather go clubbing, you rather go shopping, you rather go car riding, I don't know what else is there to do, holidays, you rather do all the things that are non-virtuous. I won't say it's evil. Non-virtuous does not mean evil or bad. It's not. It's just a label. Non-virtuous means the opposite of virtuous. Okay, so although when I say non-virtuous doesn't mean it's bad. I need to put a disclaimer here. I'm just trying to give you a differentiation because Dharma and non-Dharma. All right, so I'm just trying to give you that. Okay, rather instead of non-virtuous, non-Dharma would be better, right? A non-Dharma activity. You find it more interesting, you find it more entertaining, you have a lot of energy. We can go clubbing, we can go shopping, when there's a great big Malaysia sale, you can 10 hours of shopping in a shopping center in Bukit Bintang. No problem. 2 hours of puja, cannot keep awake. For example. Although when you sit in the puja, you are purifying your karma, you're alleviating your obstacles, but you don't feel that that is of value. So that is a result of karma. All right. So this verse addresses that. So if you or someone don't use this verse to be judgmental upon others. Oh, you have very bad karma. You find it boring. 2 hour puja. Don't use this to judge others. It is used to contemplate for ourselves, and is used to give good, constructive advice to people. All right. Dharma should never be used as a yardstick to belittle others, to criticize others, to put people down. No, never use that. Never ever do that. Dharma should be used to help people, give them a new perspective. Why it's happening like this, so that they know how to apply a certain remedy, a certain dharmic principle. Don't use it to put them down, because we have to watch our words and our tone of our voice when we address people on what's happening to them. Oh, this is bad karma. We say it like it's the end of the world. Never do that. Explain with kindness, patience, and generosity. Sharing the Dharma is being generous. All right, and also don't be stingy with your words. Now, when you want to explain Dharma, explain with a lot of words. Explain so that they understand the meaning. And before you can understand the meaning, make sure you understand the meaning first. That's the thing. We always have to make sure we understand the meaning before. That's why, in a sense, I feel grateful as well to be in this position where I'm sharing, because I'm exercising my knowledge. So when I exercise my knowledge, so I'm able to, I understand it better. Because sometimes when we talk, right, it's a thinking process, So we analyze the teaching, so on, and it comes better. We understand each time we teach, each time we explain, we get a deeper understanding of whatever we're teaching, even if it's a very simple karmic principle. Same thing for you guys. It doesn't have to be just me teaching you. You can be sharing the Dharma with others too. Okay? Eman says, hi Pastor David and everyone. What if we are less focused in listening to Dharma teachings from certain people, but we are more focused while listening to some other people? Thanks. I don't have much to say about that. We all have our own preferences lah, okay? And more importantly is sometimes we are, as a listener, we may be judging them based on maybe their person, the person delivering the Dharma, their character. Sometimes, yes, it is possible where it is hypocritical in a sense that they're sharing the Dharma, but they act in not so dharmic ways. So more importantly is to listen with the idea that with focusing on the Dharma. Okay? If it's too distracting, sometimes I understand. Sometimes it's too distracting. It happens to me too. It happens to me. So I understand what you're saying, but I really have, more importantly is to respect the Dharma, because whatever is being said, no matter how the person acts, the person delivering the Dharma, it's more important what is delivered. But usually Rinpoche said, the person who delivers the Dharma, if the person practices it, the words become, even if it's very simple, it becomes moist with the Dharma, meaning he's practicing. So when he's practicing, it will have some kind of power to effect change in the person's mind. So I wish I had that, but when I heard that, I was like, wow, may I have that one day. So I don't know if it has any effect on you guys, but I know, I'm just like a clown lah. So anyway, yeah. So I mean, I don't have much else to say in a sense, but more importantly is to listen to the Dharma, the word, the content, not the person. The person is not so relevant and important at this point. Oh, okay. So I have an issue here, so I have to stop at verse 29 for today. Anyway, my time is up, 10:30. And do let me know if anything you wish to ask regarding this. So verse 29. Okay, I'll remember that, verse 29. Thank you very much, and I hope my sharing has benefited you. I'll do dedication now. And this session is dedicated to Yiman, who has sponsored this session. Janju Central Rinpoche, Maki Pana Gyushi, Keba Yama Me Payang, Go Ne Go to Pewasho, Tony Tonga Rinpoche, Maki Pana Gyushi, Keba Yama Me Payang, Go Ne Go to Pewasho. Tazo Genes Abagewadi, Tanandroa Gunlakan Padang, Jabo Jozo Lozon Drapa, Dumping Porindo Sao She Sho, Gewa Gundu Yana Lamada, Dremi Joki Palo Long Shochi, Sada Longi on the Rachuni, Doji Changi Gopang Yuto Show, Gewadi Yududa, Lama Sangi Jufuni, Chuachika Malupa, De Salago Basho, Chujabo, Songaba, Chosonama Pewala, Geki Shamajiwada, Tuni Malusha Show, Dada Shegi Dusundan, George Letani, Gewa Lozon Drapa, Tamparin Pagushi, Nimodala Santale, Nemikoyan Dalakshin, Yasanta. Dalapel, Controson Jingulo, Controsoing Motoso, Controsoy Tashi, Show, Jason Lama Kusoratan, Namkachi Juki Padang, Los on Demi Drumin Samsung, Drumus Tatuni, Yushi, Gandhi Rawi, Coalition there, Penandel, Malakyon, and Chenres wanted to get so Shabi City Badu Dan, Yushi, Hong Tombing or Drumalova, Denny Dallas, so Conan Temple, he was shook there and so. Thank you, everybody, and good night.